Let's see if this pinged the Discord. It did. It pinged it on time. That's awesome. We have 3 people so far. Hey there, Jimmy and Lucid Boar. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'm very glad that it just actually pinged everybody on time today. That makes me most happy. Stormcloak Guard, welcome. Doodle Bob, hope your hand is okay if that was you. Hey there, Livey Langdon. I'm glad you could stay, Jimmy. It's always a pleasure to have you around. Eight people already. We'll give it another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Make sure that everybody who wants to join can join. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hey there, Netta Krug. Glad you think so, Stormcloak Guard. Hello there, Bulg, or Bulg, 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 Bulg. Oh, it's Bug. I always think there's an L there from the distance. My apologies, Bug. All right, I think we're far enough in. We have enough folks so far, so it is time to don upon the Fun Fish Friday hat, and let's get started. All right, everybody, you know the drill, and for those who don't, Fun Fish Fridays when we go live and you ask about fish or any marine creature, and I will give you the lowdown, give you some facts, or you can just ask me questions about anything really. It's just kind of a live stream for us to just hang out and talk and learn some things. Hey there, Puck. Welcome to the stream. Sea stars, I can happily do. Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna respond to something real quick. How do the sea stars work? I am very well though, Puck. So I'll just grab a random picture of a sea star. They are fun little critters. A lot of different creatures, well, most aquatic creatures rely on different types of symmetry, and sea stars, they rely on radial symmetry, which means that they don't have like humans do. They don't have like a head and then a bottom that if you cut them straight down the side, they'll be equal on both halves. Their origin is like from a head. Sea stars, their origin is from like a center, and like other things like urchins and some different types of coral or anemone also do this. It's called radial symmetry, and it's when like creatures will start from a center point and then grow outwards. Sea stars can regrow limbs at a very fast rate, and they also can move. on the very bottoms of their legs, they open up a smidge, and little arms will reach down, even smaller arms will reach down and start pushing it along the seafloor. They're really cool. This is not a hermit crab. This is just a crab, netakrug, and it is the Fun Fish Friday hat. You cannot pickle a sea cucumber. Sea cucumbers are little creatures. They are basically just tubes. They're just tubes, and they filter water. They're somewhat similar to sponges in the sense that they're just built for filtering water. And they're just a tube that filters in one end and it comes out the other. And yeah, it's pretty simple. In the inside, they're lined with different pores that will take in and digest like algae and different nutrients. It's pretty cool. Most sponges are somewhat manufactured. Your bathroom sponge is most likely manufactured. Sponges that used to be there did used to be different types of sponges that were like mass collected or cut up and well given for product uses. However, we've kind of moved away from that. We use mainly artificial. Well, they're called sponges because that's just the name of the animal. They're actually, sponges are thought to be the very first animal ever on Earth. I've gone on about this before, but they're really cool. Sponges were thought to be the very first animal, and some of them evolved to become different things, and so on. And some of them just continue to remain sponges all the way up until now. And the sponges that have evolved all the way up until now cannot evolve to be anything else. They've evolved so far into just being sponges that they've evolved themselves into an evolutionary corner where they can only evolve further to be a better sponge. They've just perfected themselves for only filtering water. It's kind of funny, but it's also really cool how they're just going to evolve further into being a better sponge. I would not recommend making fish armor. It is pretty cool. Sponges are pretty interesting creatures. It's as simple as they might be. They have a very few cells in their body, but they use all of them to just filter water. Well, manta rays, don't have a stinger. They are significantly larger, and their mouths are filter feeders, not suction feeders or slash surface feeders like stingrays are. Some stingrays do filter feed. However, they rely mostly on suction feeding, which means that they will eat things that just with their mouth, kind of like how we do. They'll just eat and bite what they can. However, manta rays, their giant mouths, as you might be able to see, like this, they have no stinger coming out of their back fin, and they are just meant for filtering water, similar to whales. Thanks, Maggie. I'm glad you like the hat. This is the Fun Fish Friday hat. There is a difference. Manta rays are significantly larger. Sea Pup is doing great. He's upstairs sleeping right now. They're called a whale shark because not only do their size rival whales, they do not rely on predatory feeding. They are filter feeders, much like whales. So they got their name because of the size and the same feeding patterns, such as filtering water in order to survive. I would not recommend doing that as much as Steve Irwin was an expert. He knew the risks when interacting with dangerous creatures. So, my favorite sea creature is actually the whale shark. It has always been my favorite. They're just really cool. Gentle giants, if you may, despite them being a shark. Electric napkin. Well, that's a new name. What does that say? A batfish. There are actually many species of batfish, such as I did one on them recently called the red-lipped batfish. They look kind of scary because they look like they just have a bunch of red lipstick all on them. I'll talk about the perfish in just a second. So the batfish, they're kind of interesting because their bodies look more like diamonds or pyramids than anything. And they actually use their fins to almost kind of walk or like stand when looking for prey. They're pretty interesting creatures. The parrotfish are very unique. They live in tropical environments along coral reefs, and at night or whenever they sleep, to coat their scent and sometimes their appearance from predators like white tip and black tip reef sharks, they will formulate a mucus type bubble around their entire body. They'll just produce this bubble and wrap themselves in it. It just looks like a big bubble. And it protects themselves while they sleep, so things can't smell them or see them as well. It's a very interesting natural deterrent from predators. Seashells come from a few different things. Let me check my facts just to be sure, because I don't want to misinform anybody. That's what I thought. Most of them come from different types of shellfish. Well, almost all shellfish, not necessarily crabs. They come from clams, oysters, and most of the animals that you hear of, like the different names of the shells, that is the name of the animal. Like conchs, for example, they're just called conchs. Like if you pick up, not all conchs that you might pick up in the ocean are empty. They generally, if you kind of turn it to the side and look down inside, you'll see the conch. They have like a very stout and very hard, like almost shield that they will have. And they also, a lot of them have stingers. So they are their own animal that create these shells to protect themselves and to have a home. Most people usually think of the clownfish, to be honest. Puck, what is the most generic fish? Generally the clownfish, due to Finding Nemo, probably. Fan favorite. Or the blue tang because of Dory. Sea dollars are not a fish. They are in the same family as, well, the same class phylum. I believe it's class as sea stars and urchins. It's pretty cool. I would not recommend taking any substances ever, Puck. That's a pretty good fish, Netakrug. What type of tuna? Do you like yellowfin tuna or any type of thing? I wish my hat could do the crab rave, but Mr. Crab Hat is not in the mood, I suppose. In the can. It's probably yellow. Tuna industry is pretty harsh, so I'm not really sure. Most of them are yellowfin. However, Hawaiian yellowfin is probably the best quality. Hey, no judgment here. I'm a big fan of fish too. I actually just had sushi today. Got it from the grocery when we picked them up. As long as you treat the ocean kindly, it'll treat you back. So overfishing, like the tuna industry, is monstrous. I always feel bad whenever tuna is served anywhere because like reminds me of like the tuna industry is nasty. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent, but like these massive ships will just swoop in, like dozens of them at a time, and they'll just over harvest tuna hordes basically, and they will gut them on ship and they will flash freeze them. They have massive on ship freezers. It's literally just a massive factory on a ship. They even process and sometimes can them on the ship just to sell. It is nuts, and it's not good. We really need to change how the world fishes because tuna populations are going down. Luckily, the mahi mahi populations are just skyrocketing. It is pretty sad. It's kind of lame to think that we're not very kind to the planet that we're supposed to protect. They do create massive schools, despite themselves already being as big as sometimes bigger than humans. They create massive schools. Looks like a big vortex. It is very beautiful. It's surreal because they're just so big and they make these massive schools. So it's really cool to see just this massive, like half a mile large abomination of fish just living their lives. Um, Fish reproduction. It kind of changes. Some sharks will like conceive like in birth somewhat similar to what humans do. Same with whales. However, um, most fish lay eggs. And so I'm going to use Finding Nemo as an example. They will lay like massive piles of eggs, and then a male from the same species will come in and they will fertilize the eggs. And then eventually, if the eggs last long enough, they will hatch to guppies. Top 10 fish: whale shark, tiger shark, manta ray, although that technically is, yes, those are fish. Um, Parrotfish, yellowfin tuna, mahi mahi, um, big bluefish, um, great hammerhead shark, blue whale, although that technically is a mammal. Finally, sailfish. I always thought it was kind of cool, just those tiny little orbs, Jimmy. But I understand how they can be. Sailfish. I need to make sure that I'm talking about the right thing because I always confuse blue marlins and sailfish. Sailfish. Sailfish are the fastest fish on Earth. They are closely related to the swordfish and the blue marlin. However, the sailfish kind of take the cake for fastest. They can move about like at 70 miles per hour consistently. They're just they are apex predators. Nothing wants to mess with them. And if something does mess with them and somehow manages to get the best of the sailfish could easily outswim it. I've talked about this before, but I honestly think that it'll be things similar to siphonophores. Siphonophores are most similarly related to jellyfish. But siphonophores, unlike jellyfish, are not single organisms. They are a colony of organisms that actually take on the appearance of like jellyfish and other organisms, mainly jellyfish though. And so the largest siphonophore is 30%, 33%, aka one third larger than the blue whale, which is absolutely huge. They are not like stout, they're not like a massive cluster. They are like just one really long string, kind of about as thick as a broomstick. And then they come to like a mushroom top, kind of like jellyfish do. They are really cool. However, I think that they are probably most likely the things that are at the bottom because they are able to process energy and things like food in a very osmosis and efficient way because they do it at a microorganismic, I don't know if that's a word, level. Each little microorganism is working to feed themselves instead of one large organism trying to feed itself. So I personally think that siphonophores, due to their adaptability of environments, will be at the bottom. I always manage to surprise. No, anglerfish are their own species, anglerfish. There are actually quite a few different species of anglerfish, and most of them don't actually live at the bottom of the ocean. Most dangerous? Um, it kind of depends. The the sea life organisms that have the most killing potential are things like the box jellyfish and more specifically the blue-ringed octopus. Blue-ringed octopus are only about like this large. They're very small. However, in that tiny little cute body of theirs, they hold enough venom to kill around 30 grown, healthy adults within minutes. So, however, there aren't too many of them, and they aren't very good at biting due to their tiny bodies. However, raw potential, probably the blue-ringed octopus. The sunfish, as in the giant oceanic sunfish, aka the mola mola, they are very cool. However, generally considered useless as they don't provide much nutrients being a bony fish of its size. They're very hollow creatures, and they are generally eaten alive by sea lions. I've been asked that question before, USB cable, but I think that it's possible, but I don't think something as big as the megalodon. I honestly think it's going to be something still prehistoric, kind of like the goblin shark or the coelacanth, or even the orange roughy. However, not as large. Probably something smaller that was able to conserve itself at a deeper place in the ocean. Yeah, I'd say so too, because pretty sure megalodons lived closer to the surface. I think it's possible to sneeze, however, I'm not really sure because I've personally never sneezed underwater and I don't know anybody who has. No, most octopus or cephalopods aren't poisonous. However, there are a few that are quite deadly, like the blue ringed octopus. Welcome back, Stormcloak Guard. There's not a Thanos fish. I don't think it would be very good if there was one, though. Snapping away half the ocean population. Already struggling. I like squids too, Netocrug. They're pretty cool. Flounders. All right, enjoy your snack, Jimmy. Sure, we can talk about flounders. They mainly gain their popularity from the movie Little Mermaid, I believe. I'll pull up a random flounder species. Flounder species. Which one to choose from? I think we should do something a little bit more colorful. What are they called? I guess we might as well do a colorful one. How about... Oh, I like this one. All right, let's do the peacock flounder. Here we have the peacock flounder. Unlike the Little Mermaid suggests, most flounders are like flatfish, and their eyes are only on the left-hand side of their head. And their eyes are really interesting because they're up on little, almost like radar stumps, and so they can like move around a ton. And actually have, despite their eyes only being on one side of their head, they can see quite a lot because of that. Very helpful eye movement. They generally are found in very shallow waters, the peacock flounders are, in the Indo-Pacific region. And they live on coral reefs because their bodies have adapted to be colorful and, well, blended with coral and anemones and environments that have color. I would not recommend that puck. Please do not. Exactly, Stormcloak Guard. You gotta respect our fishy friends. Welcome back, Jimmy. I hope you enjoy your chips. Small tooth sawfish. I'll pull up a picture of these bad boys. I think I did one on the sawfish. Yes, I did. Okay, here we are. Got a new picture of them. So, these fellas are closely related to sharks. However, they lack hunting instincts. They actually don't use their saw very much. However, it is mainly a last resort means of protection from predators. Surprisingly, despite their massive chainsaw looking nose, they are very peaceful creatures, and there have only been like one or two accounts of them harming humans, mainly because they were humans messing with it too much and then they decided to thrash to get away, which ended up harming them. So as long as you don't like keep them incapacitated, keep them like closed in an environment that they don't belong in for too long, like try to take too many pictures with it while you're like like when you caught it or something, just be nice to them and they'll be nice to you. They're actually quite peaceful surface feeders or suction feeders. Ketchup chips, huh? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had those. Mussels, huh? I was reading everybody's food conversation. It's pretty fun. Metacrug likes mussels, mussels, and mussels, all spelled differently. Jimmy's enjoying a nice bag of ketchup chips. Stormcloak Guard has raised the question of, Jimmy, why does milk come in bags in Canada? And Jimmy says he's only seen bagged milk once in his life. Doodle Bob says cheesy hamburger. And Netakrug does confirm he likes all types of mussels. And no, Puck, there's not a British fish. Bag milk is pretty funny, Lucid Boar. However, you gotta think, we do technically just keep them in boxes, usually. At least I see them in boxes, cartons. Who's boxes? Tasted like the ocean, huh? Well, something that's lived in the ocean all its life is kind of crazy. Keep it PG-13. Keep it PG, Stormcloak Guard. Please. This is a family-friendly stream, friend. Thank you. A shieldfish? Well, there are armored fish in the sense that, like, well, there were. Like the Dunkleosteus, for example. The majority of their, well, a good amount of the top half of their body near its face and head were covered in bony plates that protected it when getting into combat with rival predators, rival Dunkleosteus, or while I was just trying to eat something. I believe there is a bullet fish, however, not a gunfish. Well, let's look it up though, just to be sure, so I don't give you all a incorrect answer. Sorry, I'm texting my girlfriend real quick. Let her know I'm streaming. Okay, let's see here. Gunfish. Is there a gunfish? It's all just lures, like fishing lures. I know you do like tuna Netakrug. Oh, I actually tapped a video of the gunfish lure. Sorry about that. What type of fish sleeps the longest? That's interesting to think of. The longest sleeping fish that I can think of off the top of my head is probably something like the lungfish. They don't do this regularly. However, if they are taken out of water, lungfish have a lung in their body because of their environment. Their environment they just try to swim in little puddles or like pools of water in Africa and Australia. Those are their homelands. And they will run out of water or oxygen in their water source pretty quickly because they're such small water sources. So over time, they developed an evolutionary lung, so they can like press their snout to the top of the water and breathe. However, if they're taken out of water, their lung isn't designed for breathing only air. Well, their bodies aren't designed for breathing only air. And so they do go into like a catatonic or like comatose state for, I believe it's like 4 years. Let's make sure. Out of water. Yep, almost 4 years without water. They go into a comatose state if they're just placed into a well, a temperate room out of water. They go into a comatose state for almost 4 years, just chilling in hibernation. A heartfish, brainfish, kidney fish, spleen fish. You guys are nuts. A boss baby fish. Well, I mean, there are baby fish that are very bossy with each other. They get specifically sand tiger sharks, like in the womb. Like the infants will try to eat each other. Ooh, that's a good question, Doodle Bob. I don't know. You can never go wrong with the poke bowl or like shellfish, sushi, even. Smells do carry through water. However, we can't really experience that because our smelling comes through our breathing, and we can't breathe underwater, so it wouldn't really work. However, smells do carry through water. A lot of, almost all fish rely on smell, and especially predators like sharks, whales, even, because, well, whales do not. Sorry about that. Sharks do, barracuda, lots of predators rely on well, rely on smell, sorry about that, in order to hunt. All right, we're going to finish the stream up in about a minute and 50 seconds. So let's get a couple more questions in if you guys are down for it, and then we'll shut off today's Fun Fish Friday. Chicken fish, huh? It's always my pleasure. I love hanging out with you guys. Crab people? What do you mean, crab people? Human crabs, or like people who like crab, or people who fish for crab, like crabbers from South Park? I've honestly only watched like 5 episodes of South Park, mainly from school trips a few years ago. So I cannot speak on that. I'm sorry. But I'll check it out for next live stream so I can give you a opinion. All right. Let's pull you all in and say our farewells for today's Fun Fish Friday. However, I will be on Discord if y'all want to chat some more. So I wish everybody a good night, good morning, or good day wherever you are in the world. Hope everybody had a great Fun Fish Friday. Big Blue Fish and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And like always, goodbye, fishy friends.